I was eating some raw chicken sushi when out of the corner of my eye, I saw a furry and then another furry. So I got up to see what was going on and followed them, and then there was 10 furries and 20 furries and hundreds of furries, and I realized there was a whole furry convention at the mall I was at. But then I remembered I just didn't pay at the restaurant, and I heard them say on the intercom, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to get out of here. But these furries were everywhere, and I tried to sneak into this dark warehouse, but there was a rave going on inside, so I found a door to the outside, but it was raining and had no exit and no hope, until I saw someone's left behind fursuit on the ground with some stains in it. But I had no other way to escape, so I put it on to try and blend in and re-enter the mall, and saw so many horrifying things and still couldn't find the exit and was getting actual heat strokes, so I decided to just turn myself in. So I went up to a cop and said, I'd like to turn myself in, and it was a damn Zootopia cop! So I just bolted out of that lawless wasteland and jumped over furries to find a fire exit and made it out and stripped out and threw my suit in the river! I use my mom's Facebook Marketplace for buying clothes and organs sometimes, but today I saw that Taylor Swift's private jet was selling for $1,000 because she got in trouble for flying them every single day or something. But I thought, I'll take it, and I messaged them and hurried to the bank to take out $1,000 in cash. And I brought it to the address, which was her own airline hangar, and when I arrived, I saw the plane, and I took a bunch of pictures in front of it and then went through her makeshift security. But when I got there, there was a little party going on, and I was like, oh, fun, and I participated in the party, but then it got a little rowdy, and I asked, can I own this plane still? And it turns out some rappers bought it before I could and started filming a music video in it. But I was still bitter from being outbid, so I pulled the emergency latch and breached the airlock, and now I have the whole plane to myself.
Hey guys, just got first class, and they gave us free orange juice, free little masks that come down and put you to sleep.
Today I woke up on Mr. Beast's 35-foot tall inflatable minion that I tried blowing up the night before with my lung, but my asthma kicked in and I passed out. But anyways, last week he was like,
hey Ben, can you make me the world's largest minion?
But I hung up on him because he's not despicable enough. He's like the opposite. He's like philanthropicable. But he called back and I was like, he really is despicable. And I agreed to do it, and ever since then I have been making sure this minion is perfect. So I got the whole factory to line up and take turns blowing it up so I wouldn't be the only one passing out. And I tried to fashion together a giant suit to fit him, but I ran out of fabric and... But finally he was ready. The only problem was when I opened my trunk and tried to fit his body in it, which usually it can fit a few of those, he didn't fit. So I had to ship him in a truck, but I wanted to be along for the journey, so I snuck in while the back door was open and rode in that boy across America until we finally stopped, and I opened the door and... Hey.
Hey.
I got your minion.
Just put it over there.
Okay. Last weekend, me and some pals and Mr. Beast gathered around to sacrifice a giant minion for fun. But after we killed it to death, I was like, now what? And Mr. Beast said,
Dave is finally dead. So is this stupid trend.
But I thought to myself, that's kind of awkward, because to me it wasn't a trend, and I got a giant minion tramp stamp tattoo a few days before. And I was so embarrassed that I got in my car and drove around looking for a laser tattoo removal place, but the only one that I could find in my town went out of business when they accidentally cut someone's leg off. And it also looks like the back room, so I ordered a tattoo laser gun off of Shein. And when it arrived a week later, I got ready to use it after accidentally burning a hole in my eyeball, but I reached behind me and started burning it off, and it smelled like burnt chicken for about an hour, but I thought it was essentially gone. Until I was at Walmart a week later when I saw this lady drop her toe fungus medication, and when I bent down to pick it up for her, the scar popped out and she screamed and thought I had monkeypox, and I was like, shut the hell up, warty ass. Let's see those toes you need to scream for. Today I spent 9 hours painting Doja Cat, and it turned out so good that I decided to DM it to her. And she actually replied by saying, it's terrific. And I was just in disbelief that she replied, so I screenshotted it as fast as I could and posted it on my story to show all my friends. But after she saw it, she DM'd me a picture of the front of my house and my birth certificate. And when I said, yes it is Doja Cat, I saw she mentioned me in her story, and when I looked, she had posted both of those images on her story, and I was like, Doja, why would you do that? And then she went live and was very angry at me, and the next thing I knew, there were people banging on my front door, and then one of them threw something through my window, and I had no clue what it is, so I slowly approached it. But when I got too close, it started to fill my room with gas, and I heard on her live stream, and she said,
careful of the tear gas, please. You're getting gas, please.
So I grabbed what I could and ran out of my house and saw a flyer on the telephone pole for witness protection, and I called them and had to throw away my passport and credit cards, and now I'm flying to New Zealand to start a new life. Thanks, Doja Cat. Today I was flying over North Korea and trying to sleep even though there was a baby screaming behind me because it shat itself. But what really kept me awake was a song started playing that plays in like all those plane crash TikToks. And then the plane started shaking and the seatbelt sign turned off. And the plane was shaking so much that it spilled water all over my no-no square. And I thought, if this plane is going down, I'm not about to be found dead looking like I peed myself. So I snuck into the bathroom even though it said seatbelts on. And I grabbed some paper towel and tried to dry it off. But it was shaking so much that I just went back to my seat. And that's when I realized the music was coming from the stupid baby behind me's iPad because it knocked its AirPods off from sharding so aggressively. So I tried to lean between the seats to turn it off, but I couldn't reach it, so I called over the flight attendant and asked if we could just throw the child out of the airlock, but she didn't speak English and just gave me almonds. So I peacefully lost my mind for 7 hours, and when I landed, I saw the most nasty little sharder and chased after it because it left its iPad behind, but when I touched it, there was literal baby food on it, and I dropped it and cracked the screen. And then I picked it up again to check if it was working, and saw the lock screen, and it jump scared me, and I dropped it again. Whoops! I was scrolling through Tinder because the last person I met was when I was at the Apple store and came across some girl's number that she left on an iPad. So I took it and went home and tried texting it and just said hi, and then she replied asking if she could come over for some eggplant. And I panicked because I've never cooked eggplant before. But I remembered I could make eggplant parmesan, so I was looking for recipes on Google when I realized I accidentally typed in eggplant permission. Anyways, she said she was 30 minutes away, and I ended up running to the grocery store to buy some eggplant. So I grabbed some eggplants, and then I needed the parmesan. So I went up to this giant wheel of parmesan they had, but I couldn't lift it, so I just got a little piece. Anyways, I went home and chopped up the eggplant and dropped some on the ground, but I used the 5-minute rule because I'm half white. And I put it in the pan, and then I added some cheese and was gonna bake it when I found a spider in my oven. So I baked that instead until he was nice and crispy, and then I threw the eggplant in, and it was finally ready. So I sent her a picture of the eggplant parmesan and said, "You ready for this eggplant?" But then all of a sudden my texts to her were green, and I heard tires screeching outside. Anyways, now I'm back on Tinder, so if anyone wants a serving of eggplant parmesan, make sure you match with me. Today I texted my crush that I love her and want a relationship, and I felt like throwing up until she replied with, "I'm in Lisbon." And then she sent the, Portuguese flag, I think. I don't know, I'm not good at geometry. But anyways, I wanted to surprise her, so I booked the next ticket to Lisbon, Portugal. So I packed up my stuff and went to the airport, and it was a 30-hour journey, but it was in the name of love. And when I landed, I realized I should probably get her something as a gift, so I walked into a store and came across these very interesting frozen feet in the freezer section, and I thought, who would want to suck on feet? Oh, me. So I bought them, and opened up the box and ate every last foot. And they tasted like strawberries. I don't know why I was expecting foot flavor. Not that that's what I wanted, but anyways, I got the bright idea to take all the popsicle sticks and make a little fun DIY bracelet out of them with hearts on it. So I did just that, and then the next day, I was gonna give my crush the bracelet. So I went to DM her and asked her to meet up and realized she said, I'm a lesbian. I was scrolling through the deep web when I saw an ad for a GoFundMe to get the Queen an air fryer before she dies. So I went to it and saw no one had donated. So I gave her $5 and went to bed. But when I woke up the next morning, I got an email that it was shut down by GoFundMe. And I knew the Queen still needs an air fryer, so I packed my bags and went to the airport to book the next flight to London to bring her an air fryer that I bought for her. And after 10 hours, I landed and Ben was in the Big Ben. So I took the train to the Buckingham Palace where she lives. But when I got there, they had it gated off and I couldn't go in to see the Queen. So I found another entrance with a flimsy little fence that I slid under, and then I popped over another fence, but that triggered an alarm. So I was running as fast as I could, and I happened to drop the air fryer, but I had to hide, so I managed to find the Queen's quarters and snuck in, and I thought I was safe until I woke up on some cliffs on an island with nothing but a note on my arm that said,
Please, they won't let me air fry.
Elizabeth, I will save you. Today I went to go see Billie Eilish at Coachella, but before she came on, there was this dude wearing a big sparkly onesie who opened for her that kept staring at me, and I was thinking to myself, what's up, do you have a staring problem, buddy? But anyways, he did a little dancey dance thing, and Shrek was in the audience and seemed to love it, but his cameraman kept getting in the way and then turned to me, and the next thing I knew, rewind that. He put me on the big screen, and I freaked out and went behind the cameraman and started unplugging random cables from his camera, and it turned off the video on the screen. But anyways, then Billie Eilish came on and kept invading my personal space and staring at me, and I was like, do celebrities never get taught that staring is rude? Why are you yelling at me? But then she did her little dancey dance and left the stage, and I took a golf cart home from Coachella, and when I woke up the next morning, I checked my phone to see a DM from Billie herself asking if I was at her show with a winky face, and I replied, no, silly Billie, here's a restraining order, leave me alone. And I went back to bed. Today, my Mima told me that she bought an NFT, and I was like, Mima, you just asked me if Mark Zuckerberg was my girlfriend. How do you know what an NFT is? So anyways, I was using one of those head massagers when I got a knock at the door, and when I answered, no one was there except for a box with a towel in it and some noodles, with a note that said, NFT, noodly fun towel. And it wasn't even fun, it was soaking wet in some mysterious liquid. And I was about to put it away in my closet when I got the idea that I could actually make it into an NFT and get some use out of it. So I made some room and I took a picture of it and made it look all pretty, and I minted it on Bubble House and made it free for a limited time. And I emailed her back and told her to go claim one before they're all gone. And even her bingo club can get one, and even you. And we can play bingo together on Bubble House with my Mima and her bingo group. I can only fall asleep to loud noises, so tonight I played some mukbang videos on full volume. And I also tried blasting that one girl who goes, in all of her songs, and I was about to go to sleep like a baby when I heard a banging at my door, and I realized it was probably my insane neighbor who was literally named Karen. But when I got up and put clothes on and walked down to the door, there was nothing but an envelope that said, use these. So I brought it inside and opened it up, and she had sent me her nasty, crusty, earwax-covered AirPods that smelled like Fritos. And at first I was like, this is a human rights violation, and I'm probably diseased now. Until I saw the opportunity to suit up in a hazmat suit and rinse the brain caca off of them so that they look new, and then I could sell them to someone in my neighborhood for a profit. So I made a listing for like $150, and this one dude said he would buy it if I could meet him by the nuclear waste runoff. So I Ubered over there, and when I got there, I saw a bunch of money just sitting under some leaves, and I was like, that's not the safest way to do a transaction. But regardless, I just sprinkled the AirPods by it and then went home with 150 in like 4 different currencies. But it's okay, because I just ordered a bass-boosted speaker with the money from the AirPods. And when it comes, I'm gonna have a big old party and blast music with a speaker courtesy of Karen. Today, I threw away all my electronics so I could join the Amish and live a simple life. But after about 10 minutes, I got really bored of harvesting wheat and apples and wanted to watch a good old YouTube video. But I didn't have any devices to watch YouTube on, so I obviously walked over to the YouTube headquarters. And when I got there, I managed to walk right in, and I found an empty room with a TV in it so I could watch a few videos from my personal collection. Anyways, after I had cured my boredom, I left the room and raided the YouTube fruit counter and grabbed an orange and an apple and a DVD copy of the videos I watched. But when I finally got home, I realized I can't play this because I don't have a record player. But I looked around my room and saw an old radio speaker thing and popped the CD in it just so I could listen to the audio and imagine the video in my mind. But when it started playing, it sounded like it was coming from outside my house, and that's when I realized I had it set to broadcast. And I ran outside to see every radio in the vicinity was playing. Every day I bike past this fenced-off neighborhood near me that's radioactive from a nuclear meltdown. But today I decided to explore it, so I went through a gap in the fence, and after walking for about 10 minutes, I got to this mysterious door in the middle of nowhere, so I did a little knock and let myself in and closed it behind me to be polite to the radiation. Anyways, I went down the stairs and saw, some interesting artifacts that I was not exactly a fan of. And I continued through the bunker and found a very inviting door that made me feel super safe, which led to more stairs that had my knees cracking like Rice Krispies. Anyways, I eventually got to this tunnel and some doors at the end of it that said danger, do not enter. But I went in because my middle name is Danger. Just kidding, it's Emil. And after I went through the door, it closed behind me and I tried everything but couldn't open it up because it was locked. So I decided to look around and see what my grave location was gonna look like, thinking maybe it's a movie theater or a game room. And I turned the lights on to see that it was an actual nuclear missile silo where they held the nukes. And it went 100 feet down, and now this is where I live, I guess. And my phone is now on 1% uploading this TikTok. So if you see this, that's the last time you're gonna... Today I was in my car when I saw that the Amish were doing a pop-up shop, so obviously I had to go check it out because I don't believe that they're real. And when I pulled up to Simply Amish, I put my mask on because I don't want to give the entire colony the plague or something. And when I walked in, the employee was on a computer, and I was like, that's strange, not even supposed to have electricity. But I was walking around, and at first it seemed like a really expensive furniture store, and I was like, damn, these Amish are gonna be ballin'. But then I came across this door that was half open, which led to this scary basement that had all of these artifacts and paintings of Jesus, and then randomly a Rick and Morty Chia Pet, and some cards that I don't think are Amish appropriate, and then a Queen's Gambit board game, which... wouldn't that just be chess? Anyways, I felt the need to buy something so the Amish don't steal my organs. I got one of those popping toys where you put it on the ground and... Anyways, when I paid and got the bag, I noticed they slipped a key in it with a note saying, need escape? And then some coordinates, which I looked up online and found out they lead to their colony. So I think they tried recruiting me, and let me know if I should drive up there and join them. Today, I went to the airport with a pregnancy test because I want to go to Paris, but to fly there, you need to take a test. However, the website didn't specifically say COVID test, so I thought I'd try bringing a pregnancy test to see what would happen. And if that doesn't work, I also did a DNA test, which told me I'm anemic, which is of no surprise to me because every time I stand up for 2 seconds, Anyways, I pulled up to the airport and pulled out the test, but I remembered what you have to do for a pregnancy test. So I snuck away into the bathroom and looked for an empty stall, and then when I got in, I took out the test and put it under some water instead of pee because I'm not a maniac. And then I waited a bit for the line to show up, and once it said I was negative, I brought it up to the gate and gave them the test and my passport, and they let me on the flight to Paris. And I was like, no way, that actually worked. And then I realized you probably just saw my vaccination card and that's all you need instead of a test. So anyways, I got on my flight and now I'm in Paris. And I got 1 pregnancy test left, so if you're my baby mama whose name rhymes with Yandea, my phone number is 818. I wanted to go to Chili's today, but it was burning down, so instead, I went to go get sushi. But it was one of those places where it comes on a conveyor belt and you can take what you want, except for this piece of shrimp that refused to cooperate and wouldn't release. But it's okay, because they also have a screen you can order from, so I ordered myself some crispy rice, and it zoomed by faster than I could say, "No, officer, I had nothing to do with the Chili's burning down." Anyways, then I saw these nasty cubes that look like Minecraft gravel, and I lost my appetite. So I put all the plates down the chute since I was done with them, when I wondered, what's actually in there? And it said, please don't insert hands or objects, but what did I do? Hit record on my phone and insert it into the slot, which was really smart because then I dropped it down into the chute and had to call over a waiter in shame, and he told me that non-plate items go out the garbage chute around back. So I went down this creepy corridor and finally found it, and when I grabbed my phone and sat down to check what footage I had recorded, I saw... So I was watching my local 7-Eleven burn down today when I saw a shirt or something in the bushes. And when I walked over, I saw it was a Walmart employee uniform that someone just left there. So I decided to try it on, even though it had a stain on it that looked like, milk. But that's when I got the idea to go to Walmart and see how long it would take them to notice that I don't work there. And I was just walking around in Walmart as a fellow employee. So the first thing I did was give myself a good employee discount on a few things I found. And then I was looking for something to do when I saw the phone for announcements just sitting there. And I was super nervous, but I picked it up and said, "Attention shoppers, everything is free for the next hour." And then I hung up and panicked and tried to find a getaway, and I saw the employees only area. So I went inside and it led me to an elevator, which eventually led me out the main entrance. And when I finally made it out of there, the security was outside with its flashing lights. So I quickly took off my uniform, threw it in the bushes, and ran. So I was completely legally watching a movie today when I won an iPhone 13. And all I had to do was enter my social security number, so I typed it in. And then a week later, while I was blending my candles together to make a mega candle, I got a notification that a package was delivered. So I ran downstairs to grab it, and the packaging was a little strange, but I cracked open the box, which apparently was for the iPhone 14. And then when I opened up that box, they had sent me a toy car. And I was like, I know I didn't just give away my identity for a Hot Wheel. Then I realized it's actually a phone. So I decided to hang up on the 911 operator that I had panic called, and I checked out my new phone, and it was pretty cool until I realized it was a used phone. And I think the previous owner was someone's grandma, because I saw in her text she wasn't just having booty calls, but a whole booty conference. Now, I didn't want this phone anymore after going into the images and seeing Granny's Milkies, so I picked it up one last time and checked her contact section and noticed she had her address on there. So I grabbed the phone and biked over to her house, which happened to be only an hour away. And when I got there, Granny is on her Jeff Bezos type beat. So I decided to put my name in her contacts, and then I threw the phone over the fence, and I'll let you know if I slide. Today, I snuck an AirTag tracking device into an Ed Sheeran concert so that I could somehow stick it onto him to track him down, because that's for the FBI to know. Anyways, randomly BTS opened for him, and then Eddie was about to come on stage, so I had the genius idea to use an extra mask and fashion it into a slingshot so that when he performed, I walked up to the front of the stage, locked onto my target, and bam! It flew through the air. And now I know there's no way of it sticking to him. However, they have to pack up the stage, and it's probably gonna travel with him. So anyways, I saw Doja Cat and Lil Nas X, and then left the concert and went home. Then the next morning, I was getting a reading on the AirTag finder, and it said that he was in Las Vegas. So I flew to Las Vegas, and when I got to the airport, I thought I had already found him, but the thing is, I had a little bit of spicy grape juice on the plane, so I stumbled over to the man and shouted, "Ed!" And it was just a random man. So, yeah. Today I went to the movie theater an hour early because I'm half Caucasian and I wanted to see the new Spider-Man for the 30th time. But when I sat down, I noticed that they had QR codes for their overpriced food menus. So I got the intrusive thought to quickly run home and change all the QR codes to moaning sounds. So when I got home, I designed a bunch of fake stickers and printed them off with QR codes so when you scan them, they play this. Anyways, I grabbed the stickers and drove back to the theater and stuck them over the top of the original ones. And as people trickled into the theater and the movie started, and they started scanning the codes for the menu, I suddenly began to hear... And then people would quickly hide their phones and try and turn it off. And it got to the point where they had to stop the movie. So anyways, I left and went for sushi. And when I got there and sat at the table, I noticed that this restaurant also has QR codes for their menu. And I had some stickers left over, so I carefully placed them on top of the old QR codes. And then I looked back at the dude behind me as he scanned his, and... Anyways, my sushi was very delicious, 9 out of 10.
My favorite thing to do right now is guess people's passwords of their social media accounts, because I've actually managed to successfully hack a few accounts. And I also enjoy changing some captions around without people noticing and tagging myself so people think me and Zendaya are besties. So today I managed to log into Shawn Mendes's account, and then I decided to DM some people some pickup lines like Olivia Rodrigo, which might have made me responsible for him and Camila Cabello breaking up, but anyways, today I wanted to get into Instagram's Instagram account to, I don't know, post a picture of myself or something. And then I remember the guy who owns Instagram is Mark Zuckerberg. So when I tried logging in with a bunch of different passwords and none were working, I realized it kept asking me if I'm not a robot. And since old Marky Poo is a robot, I left it blank, and then boom, I was in, baby. And I was stressed about what I should post to like 400 million people, so I just chose this random picture of me at the beach, and now 500,000 people have liked it. So thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for the validation.
I was trying to sell my kidneys on the black market when I got an ad for Shein Eats, and apparently they sell food now. So I ordered some Mexican food because I was really hungry. But when it arrived, it came in what looked like a reused tissue box, and it had a fragile sticker, but it was looking more like a burrito bowl at this point. Anyways, I compared it to the picture in the ad, and it looked nothing like it. But the worst part is there was corn in it, and I'm allergic. And I was beyond mad, so I looked at the shipping label, and it said it was shipped all the way from China. So you know what I did? I was on that next flight to China, and after I boarded the plane next to the world's biggest Facebook mom with this suitcase, the food was actually pretty good, a little bit better than Shein's. But anyways, when I landed, I remembered it was the Olympics here in Beijing, so I decided to go to that instead of getting revenge on Shein. Happy Valentine's Day. Aww. I woke up at 4 a.m. to borrow some of my roommate's peanut butter today, but when I opened it up, I saw he's been scooping it out the jar in a really strange way, which is really inefficient because there's just more surface area for it to dry out. But anyways, I wanted to make a peanut butter and spray cheese sandwich, but I felt like it needed some raspberries, so as I was taking the bread out of the fridge, I knocked out the raspberries. But I believe in the 5-minute rule instead of the 5-second rule, so I scooped them up and assembled my delicious sandwich, and I added the raspberries and a nice little squirt of easy cheese, and then I took a big old bite, but I started feeling really funny, and I thought I was having an allergic reaction to the peanut butter. But then I remembered the raspberries were not exactly the freshest, and I just ate an ounce of them. So I grabbed my computer and tried to call poison control, but they were closed because of Thanksgiving. And I was like, damn, I'm really gonna puke my guts out because some white dudes wanted to have a feast after a mass genocide in 1621. So anyways, I decided I should probably write my will. And I opened up my notes app and said all my money in my plant collection and my life-size Zendaya cardboard cutout will go to my dog. Thank you and goodbye forever, I guess. Today, I DoorDashed some cooked goldfish from PetSmart because I was really hungry and they were only $3. So I placed the order and walked over to PetSmart to pick it up. But when I got there, I walked in and found the food pickup section and saw all the soon-to-be sushi swimming around in their little tanks that were right next to the not-so-swimming sushi. And that's when I realized maybe pet store food isn't the best move. But I was still super hungry, so I asked an employee if they have anything else to eat, but she told me if I want to act picky, they have rats for sale. So I opened up the rat fridge and I couldn't do it. So I ended up buying some bugs for like $2, which was such a great and amazing deal. And when I got home, I was so hungry that I ripped open the bag of bugs and just told myself that this little grasshopper in my chopsticks is a Cheeto. So I popped it in my mouth and I felt movement. And I spat it out and it jumped out of the bowl! And I panicked and ran to the toilet. For the next 3 hours, I vomited up my insides. So I bought this doggy camera to spy on my little worm creature, and when I was checking the cameras today, I saw that when she comes through her doggy door, a literal rat has been following her in. And not only that, I caught them canoodling, and I had to shoot a treat at her to break them up so I could go rescue her from Remy the rat in my house not paying rent. Anyways, I was horrified, and ever since, she's been giving me, rabies vibes, the way she's been kind of foaming at the mouth and trying to bite me. So I took her to a discount vet clinic at the back of a dollar store, and they weighed her little fat butt and then put her on the table. And I told them I think she has rabies, and that's when they pulled out 3 humongous needles. And then they took her into the back rooms, and I'm not an anti-vax or anything, but she was screaming so much I was like, bring my girl back. And I grabbed her and brought her home, and now she just has a little bit of rabies, but it's fine because she just likes to give me love bites. I was putting my clothes in the dishwasher today because I broke my washing machine when I tried washing dishes in it last week because my dishwasher was broken in the first place. But anyways, I was in the kitchen and heard a snowball hit my window, and when I looked out the window, my elderly neighbor Myrtle had put up a sign that said, "Check your mail." Now, as threatening as that seemed, I was so excited because her son owns the website where you watch Corn with a P, and in the past, she's given me like $1,000 at Christmas and a cute little picture of herself. So I went to the door and grabbed the card, and when I opened it, I noticed that this time there was no gift, which is fine and all, but also the picture she had sent me had some man's hand in the corner, and on the card there was weird capitalization, so I highlighted the capital letters and it spelled "help me," and I started freaking out. So I drove over to her house, which was 50 feet away. Sorry, Greta Thunberg. And I was gonna save her from being choked, but when I got there was a van outside that said 50 Shades of Play, and I think that's what Myrtle's into. So now I'm traumatized.
Do you ever wonder how it went down for the first person to ever get their ear pierced? Like, how did that happen? Was it just like,
What the booga?
You like a new piercing? Look, we're matching.
What the hell is a piercing? This is a stabbing.
No, bitchuga. This is gonna be the next biggest thing in Pangea.
Okay, sure, but why my ear? Why not literally any other part of my body?
Wooga booga, what do you do?
Oh my god, that's literally worse.
Wait, do you want one too?
What?
I woke up today and decided to go to Claire's to get my ear pierced because I saw they're doing it free if you give them your organs. So I walked in and I picked my piercing and then signed away the rights to my kidneys. And then they marked the ear that I wanted pierced, and then boom, they legally stabbed me. But anyways, I went home and I was so excited to take off my mask and see it, and they had pierced the mask string into my ear hole! And I started freaking out, of course, and needed to get it off. So I tried finding pliers or something, but I grabbed scissors and used them to cut the mask off so it doesn't rip my ear off. And then I looked in the mirror and I thought, maybe it looks cool. But it didn't. So I grabbed my computer to try and find the Claire's customer service line so I can sue them. But they closed at 6 p.m. and it was 6:30. So I went to bed and cried myself to sleep. And when I woke up, oh, it was infected. So now I think my ear is gonna fall off in 2 to 5 business days. So please let me know what music I should listen to before I have one ear left. I don't know if you've seen those comments on TikTok of beautiful women asking if there are any boys here, but today I remembered I am a boy, so I decided to investigate and saw that she was asking me to go to her bio. So I clicked the link in her bio and it instantly froze my iPad and I couldn't close the app or anything until a thing popped up asking for my phone number and credit card number to fix it. And so obviously I was like, thank God, a solution. So I grabbed my credit card from my wallet and typed it in, but then after I did that, my iPad fully shut off and started smoking. But I was like, okay, thank God they reminded me what my credit card number is. So I went to the Apple store to go replace all my Apple products that are now fried, but I got distracted and tried to make the wallpaper as minions kissing, and I played some random rats dancing on all the iPhones. But then an employee yelled at me, so I fled with no iPhone, and now I'm trying to catch a bird so I can use it as a carrier pigeon to talk to people since I have no electronic devices left. So there was this guy on the train today who offered me 100 bananas if I gave him a foot massage with mustard. I didn't do it, obviously, and I'll take a lie detector test to prove it. Okay, I did not give a foot massage to a random person. No! You're gonna give me the bananas, right?
I'm not naming any names, but it'd be a lot of people. A lot of people getting pushed if I was in red light, green light with them. It'd be...
I opened my window for the first time in weeks today to collect a bunch of my fly friends. But they were being very lazy, so I decided to harvest them and put them to work. For example, say I don't want to pay for my $21 breakfast burrito, I simply call my fly babies into battle and leave a body on the plate when I'm finished. Sometimes, for good measure, I'll even put one in the water. Then I call over the manager and tell him that there is not only a fly in my food, but I am gravely allergic to the fly. Then when the bill comes, I change the total to a negative and then they pay me back. Another great reason why you should always carry a bag of dead flies with you is for retail therapy. I want to treat my mom with some makeup, so I simply find a tester and drop a quick friend on it. Then I take it to the front counter and tell them that I could have put a fly in my mom's eye. Then they give it to me for free and I go about my day. But guess what? It even works at Olive Garden. After I'm seated, finally, I get my free breadsticks and I take one into the bathroom and sacrifice one of my babies for the cause. Then once the fly is on the breadstick, I exit the bathroom and walk over to the management and tell them that there is a fly on my breadstick. And boom, refund. So next time you're looking at the poor lost souls on your windowsill, just say, come on, man, it's time to scam.
Ever since Trump got banned off of every social media platform, I actually discovered the last way that he's been able to whine to his little Trump stands since he can't be on Twitter anymore. And you're probably wondering, what is it? Well, last January, my number got leaked online, and someone took my number and gave it to the Trump campaign. So they've been sending me non-stop texts, emails, and calling me like once a week.
To support Donald Trump.
And whenever they call me, I, politely decline. Anyways, since he's been banned, it's been real quiet. Until one day, I was drinking Red Bull out of my frog mug on the balcony when a piece of paper hit me in the head from the sky, and I saw a carrier pigeon flying away. Anyways, I looked at the note, and it was a note from Trump himself, saying he's bored and losing his job and needs $50. So you know what I did? I went looking for the perfect pigeon to send back to the President of the United States, and I found a strong young pigeon with just a dash of rabies. I showed it a picture of Trump, pointed it in the direction of the White House, and I said, "Fly, baby, fly." I like to collect mold off of my old moldy bread and put it in a baggie that I keep in my pocket, so whenever I'm out and about at an overpriced restaurant getting an overpriced $15 acai bowl, I can order one and then eat the whole thing, and then once I'm done, I take out my mold babies and pop one in so I can take it to the register and go full Karen mode and show them the mold, and then boom, baby! Refund. I've done this in the past with dead flies at Olive Garden, but I like having bread in my pocket instead of dead decaying flies. Anyways, I wanted to give my mom some makeup, so I tried it at Sephora by putting some mold in the makeup, and then I brought the sample to the manager, and I got a free one. And then I sanitized my hands to get the mold off, of course. Anyways, after Sephora, I really wanted some tortilla chips, so I grabbed a bag, opened it up, popped some mold in, and then boom! I took it to the cashier, and I got a refund, baby. And then when I got home, I took a bite and forgot to take the mold out! Boom, baby, mold poisoning. I was enjoying some banana on the cob and scrolling through TikTok when I saw someone playing this Mario Kart in real life game. So I took my friend's credit card and ordered it. But when it came in the mail and I actually got to open it up and play it, the game was about as fun as listening to Ed Sheeran out of your own free will. So not fun at all. But you know what? It was okay, because I bought it for the only purpose of seeing if I could take it through a drive-thru and ordering something. So I strapped my credit card to it and a walkie-talkie so that I can order through the microphone. And I taped it to Luigi really good and then drove all the way over to Popeyes. And it was time to release Luigi and see if I could successfully order a fry. I set everything up, and then just like that, the little Italian was off. But as he drove up to the microphone, I didn't think they could see him, so at first I did some donuts to get their attention. And then as I was spinning him around, they were like... And I was about to tell them my order when I saw there was a car coming into the drive-thru. I panicked and grabbed my Switch to try and drive away, but it said it was disconnected, so I ran over to the drive-thru, and our favorite plumber Luigi was killed by a Mitsubishi. Anyways, the funeral is on Monday. Please comment your condolences if you would like to attend. My dearest Mima once told me, the circle of life is everywhere. That's why today I'm using her ashes to season my baked salmon for supper. I get all my seafood fresh from the sewer drain behind my local prison, because my uncle taught me when I was a young boy that if you take headphones with a phone attached playing Ed Sheeran and leave them by a sewer drain overnight, the fish in the sewers will sewer side. And when you check back the next day, you'll have plenty of fish ready for the lunch. Now, I'm not using any seasoning other than Mima herself, because I'm half white and my Mima told me that seasoning is the devil. Plus, the fish is already marinated in toxic chemicals to give it a little bit of a kick from the sewer runoff. I throw it in the oven at 400 degrees, and once it's done and I take it out, I finish it with a few more ashes. And then I finally take my first bite. So it looks like I have Mima stuck in my throat from the dryness, so instead of her ashes getting spread at Disneyland, they're getting spread in this toilet. Bye, Mima! I was picking the ticks out of my dog's fur so I could collect them and inject them with acid until they popped. But just before I could even get to doing that, my phone went off, and when I checked it, my friends had invited me to go rollerblading with them. So I dropped what I was doing and I met them at the roller derby rink. Now, I paid $10 to rent some skates, but listen, these babies were impossible to put on, and when I stood up, it felt like I had fettuccine noodles for legs. But it was actually really fun, except there was a small child who kept trying to chase me, and I'm allergic to small children, so I tried to avoid him at all costs. But then he got too close to me, and I ran him over. And in the distance, I heard some lady who I think was his mom screaming at me about her little overgrown fetus. So I left the roller rink and escaped into the mall, but I could still hear her screaming in the distance, so I started running. And then that's when I saw a security guard and told him that there was a psychopath chasing me, and thankfully he snuck me out of the mall, and turns out she got arrested later for biting an employee. So... Today I woke up and grabbed my phone and text my friends, "Good morning, bestie." But instead I chose violence today. And out of the blue, I Snapchatted my friend, "I know what you did." And then I added her on Snapchat because I wanted to see her anger level. Then I put my phone away and I went upstairs to make lunch. And while I was getting the ingredients to make some delicious chocolate nachos, my phone started blowing up. But I didn't look at them because I was microwaving my chocolate nachos. And then once the nachos were done, I sat down and I enjoyed them. And then I went to the sink and I washed my plate. And then I decided it was a good time to assess her anger level. So I checked my phone and she had said, "Yeah, I told everyone you're an ugly ass, annoying ass, smelly, especially smelly ass
bitch with a dog that looks like a raw chicken breast that you could boil and use the eye crust as seasoning. Lose my number.
So anyways, I don't have my best friend anymore and I'm going back to bed.
So I have a chunk of dry ice from buying human organs off the black market, but I was thinking, how do you even get rid of dry ice? Like, it doesn't melt because it's literally frozen air and it repels water, which means it's homophobic. Oh wait, I mean hydrophobic. Anyways, I'm clinically stupid, so I broke a piece in half and plopped it in my toilet to see what would happen. And it was making these fun little bubbles, so I filled the bathtub and grabbed the rest of it and threw it in some water to see what would happen. And anyways, that was a mistake because it filled the whole shower up with gases, and I remembered it's not frozen air, it's frozen CO2, and I was getting lightheaded and I wasn't trying to die. So I took the piece out and I brought it to the sink and I jammed it down the drain as best as I could so it would go away. And then I took a deep breath of relief until I looked down to see I was standing in a puddle of water and boom! My pipes exploded! There was water spraying me everywhere in the face and got everywhere. Anyways, I may have caused a catastrophic water main failure in my whole neighborhood and flooded 102 buildings. So, I don't think the vegan chicken nuggets were worth it.
I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago today, Harambe the gorilla was D-worded. So, I decided to take a quick trip to infiltrate the Cincinnati Zoo, because I think he might still be alive and the whole thing was a publicity stunt. Anyways, when I got there, I did a bird call to attract some birds to land on me as a disguise, and it worked. A bunch of gay chickens landed on me and I had the perfect disguise. I was walking around looking like a zoo employee, which let me sneak into the employees only area with no suspicion. I was walking around in the back rooms when I tried saying hi to the employees, but they were busy cleaning fish dookie, so I stopped to pet some stingrays because I couldn't find Harambe's enclosure, and then I pet some sharks and they were so cool, just like a little bit slimy. And then I saw some jellyfish and they're so pretty, so I reached in to pet. Where am I? The place you go when you pet a jellyfish, stupid. Oh, well, that makes sense. Today, I accidentally burned out my house because I was boiling Listerine and Red Bull to make delicious tea when I saw a wasp had waltzed into my house. And I'm extremely allergic, so I grabbed a container to try and capture him so I could send him back to hell. And I got him, but then I realized if I try and get the lid on, he's gonna fly out and sting me, and then I will end up in hell and he will haunt me forever. So I dropped it and I ran and grabbed a piece of paper, and then I put it back on and slid it under. And I actually managed to pull out the paper, and I had successfully abducted him. So I put him on a plate and microwaved him until he lit on. Just kidding. I realized I'll definitely go to hell if I do that, so I let him outside and carefully put him down and released the hatches, and he kicked it away. So then he got up and chased me inside, and I closed the door and I thought it was safe, and oh, I forgot to turn the stove burner off, and... So I don't know if you saw, but Lil Nas X released these new Nike shoes that have a drop of real human blood in them. But I thought the colors were cute, so I ordered a pair of them. And while I was waiting around for them to arrive, I saw a lot of Karens were mad about it. And I was trying to figure out why, because having spare human blood on you at all times would be so helpful. Like if I was ever, I don't know, walking back from Taco Bell and a Toyota Prius smashes into me, and I'm lying on the ground like, dang, this is kinda awkward. Also, I'd probably be dying and need a blood transfusion. In that moment, I could just pop my shoe off and use my shoe blood and be completely fine. Then I could grab my food that I dropped from being hit by a car and find a nice bench to eat my taco on. Until I realize I'm currently on church property and I'm wearing my Lil Nas X Satan shoes and uh-oh. I was joining some random Zoom calls today so I could make some friends. But after accidentally joining an Amish colony Zoom, I accidentally joined this Zoom call with this guy in it. And I was like, who's that? Until I realized I had joined a call with Dr. Fauci, the chief medical advisor to the president. And then I looked in the mirror to make sure I didn't look like a cockroach. And then as soon as I looked presentable, I grabbed my laptop and brought it out to the living room. And then I joined the call and I was like, how are you, Dr. Fauci? And he said,
I'm good, Ben. Nice to be with you. How you doing?
And then I froze and tried to think of like a question about COVID or something. And that's when I remembered my uncle texting me out of the blue saying that there's pee in the vaccine. So I was like, let me set the record straight. So I asked him,
the vaccine looks like it's just a few drops of water, and I feel like a lot of people don't really know what's actually going on in there.
What vaccine did you get, Ben?
I'm Moderna.
I got Moderna too. So,
okay.
So when you and I got injected, what happened, it went into the muscle, the body recognizes the protein of that virus and neutralizes it.
I feel like that was like a crash course and a PhD in biology, but it all made sense. I figured it out.
Well, you heard it from the White House and Bet of the Week. The vaccines are safe. Go get it, please. So I've always wondered, what would happen if you put a Tide Pod in your dishwasher instead of like the dish soap pod thing? Like, would it explode or like what would happen? So today I decided to sacrifice my Android phone to record it. And I turned the flash on and put it in my dishwasher. And then once it was recording inside there, I closed it up and started the dishwasher on the low cycle. But after a few minutes, it started shaking a lot. And I noticed that there was water leaking and dripping out the bottom. So I panicked and I canceled it and I opened it up and I took the phone out and somehow it survived and was still working. So I played the video to see what happened and... Every time you're not running, Ed Sheeran gets closer. So today was April Fool's, and I got a doorbell notification, which I thought was strange because I'm not expecting any packages. And when I checked it, I saw a box sitting outside my house. I was like, what the heck is a baguette? That sounds like the opposite of a... You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I picked it up and brought it inside and realized it makes vegetable pasta. And I was so excited, so I opened it up, but... there was no spaghetti. There was just my hair. And I started panicking because I was like, how did they get my human hair? And that's when I realized that a month ago, I cut my own hair and put it online as a real Michael Jackson wig and sold it to someone for $5,000. But they probably got my address from the return address on the package. Anyways, I looked in the hair and found a note saying I need to lock my door because... I was making sushi with raw chicken instead of raw fish, but I accidentally dropped it on the floor. And when I bent over to pick it up, I saw my legs and wondered if I could wax them so they would feel like 2 slippery hot dogs. So I canceled my chicken sushi, and once I was done cleaning it all up, I went to my garage to find a bottle of Gorilla Glue to wax my legs. But here's the big old catch. I can't make a single noise waxing my legs because if I wake up my dog, she will literally pee herself in the beanbag chair. So with that in mind, I grabbed some plastic wrap and put the glue on it and made a little waxing strip. Then I knelt down and put the strip on slowly, and at first I was like, this isn't too bad. It just kind of feels kind of numb, and then it started burning, and I realized I had to do it now, so I ripped it off, and it didn't get the wax off! I panicked and I tried to wipe it off, but it just shredded the paper towel, got even stickier. And also my dog woke up and peed herself. But at least the sushi was kind of fire. Today, I hiked up to the Hollywood sign, but there was a fence blocking access to it, so I committed a little bit of a crime. And I managed to get through, and I changed the sign to Holly Boob by covering the W with a B for boob. Anyways, I was walking down, and I saw helicopters flying overhead, and I was getting kind of nervous. So I ran into the bushes, and I hid from them, because apparently I was on government property, or whatever that means. Anyways, I got an emergency alert on my phone, and when I checked, it said that there was a $2 million bounty for a 6-foot man in green. So I realized I'll have to live off the grid forever in these bushes, with my only food being Lady Gaga Oreos that I brought as a snack. Anyways, I managed to sneak away to a swamp, but I heard the choppers getting closer. But that's when I looked in the distance and saw none other than a 6-foot man in green in the swamp. I had to act fast, so I grabbed my phone and I dialed 911 and I ratted on Shrek. Anyways, Shrek was arrested and charged with 8 felonies and I got a $2 million reward. So now I'm rich and I bought a mansion. Thanks, Shrek.
Today I went to the fair so I could try and go on that tilt-a-whirl ride that was about to collapse in this TikTok that I saw. But when we were standing in line for it, I noticed some sparks fly as it flew by, and a literal screw had been sharded out. And I was like, well, the Juice WRLD concert's gonna be really good after this. Anyways, we got on and found our seats and put the thing on, and I don't know what they did, but they had cranked that speed up to the max. And you know what? It surprisingly didn't fall apart, but instead I just passed out like a little infant that can't stay awake. Anyways, I got off and was feeling kind of hungry, and I saw the cotton candy booth, so I went over to it, and they gave some to us for free because they were so nice. And I was enjoying my cotton candy when my friends dragged me onto this swingy thingy, so I reluctantly gave the dude my ticket and found my seat. And once it started moving, I realized that cotton candy and motion sickness is a terrible mix. They were swinging our butts around this thing like no tomorrow, baby, because I threw up and it sprayed on a worker, and I'm never allowed back. I've been waiting for a year, but today I finally got a PS5. Anyways, today I bought a PS5 off of this sketchy guy online because I really wanted one, but they're sold out everywhere. So I messaged him and asked how much money he wants for it, and he replied saying he accepts payment in other forms, and I was like, he must mean Bitcoin. So I went upstairs and grabbed my mom's credit card and bought 200 Bitcoins, which apparently was a lot of real world money, but whatever, because I needed that PlayStation. So I went outside and hopped in my car and drove over to the address he gave me, and when I was pulling up, I got really scared because the address was a hut made out of sticks in the middle of the forest. And as I got closer, I saw the PS5 on the ground, so I went over to grab it. But that's when I heard a voice say, "Hey there, wanna show me your toes?" So I grabbed the box and ran to my car and just barely escaped with my life and my PS5. And when I finally got home, I couldn't wait to open it just to see that this man didn't sell me any PS5. He sold me a Printer Station 5. So it is currently December, and the pandemic has gotten on my last nerve. So I bought a coronavirus vaccine off of Wish.com for only $20,000. And I had to wait 2 months for it to come, but then it finally arrived in this huge crate that I could barely lift up the stairs. But I opened up the box and I pulled the vial out. I wasn't sure how to take it, but I wasn't gonna use a needle because I am needleophobic. So I put some of it in my juice bottle and I drank it, and I was feeling pretty okay. And I went to go test it out by licking as many public surfaces as I could for an hour straight. Then, as I was walking home, I started to feel a little dizzy. busy. And when I finally got home, I double-checked the packaging, only to realize they had sent me a vial of Obama bathwater. And there was no vaccine. I took the vial and flushed it down the toilet, but then I remembered, you can't flush glass down the toilet. And then I heard a bang! And I ran outside to go see what it was. And all the pipes had exploded on my street, and there was doo-doo water everywhere. And I had caused a disaster. But the one good thing was, I saw Remy the Ratatouille floating on a piece of cheese. And I said, "Hi, Remy," as he sailed off into the drain. So, I lost my debit card for the 5th time this year, and the bank won't give me a new one, so I went to Foot Locker today to sell my feet pics, because I'm completely broke, and after looking everywhere and asking an employee, I could not find the locker full of feet pics. And I thought, this place is such a scam. Why would it be called Foot Locker if there's no locker where people can buy feet pics? That's when I had the realization I can make my own Foot Locker and sell my feet pics on the side of the road. I started by holding up an iPad with some samples, but people kept driving by and no one bought any. But you know what they say, baby? Work smarter, not harder. So when I got home, I started making a sign that said feet pictures $3. So I painted it real nice and then I hit the streets again. And when I got to a busy street, I taped the iPad to it with a Google slideshow playing with my feet. And I waved it around a bit more, but even that wasn't working. So I had to do what I never thought I'd do. I seductively took my shoe off and then lowered the sock off my foot. And then I started waving at people driving by with my feet. But it was too much. I ran home and felt so dirty and unwanted because no one wanted my little piggy. So my dad loves mangoes, so for Christmas, I got him a single mango from Walmart as his Christmas present. But I couldn't just wrap it because it would be obvious that I got him a mango like everyone else does for Christmas. So I grabbed my wrapping paper and I wrapped it as something completely different, then I put it under the tree. But a few weeks had passed and it started to smell really bad, and when I checked it, the mango had molded. So I had to throw the whole freaking present out and wrap a brand new mango. But I had run out of wrapping paper, so I got in my car and I drove back to Walmart and I found a tube of basic wrapping paper. And then I pretended it was a sword and I was swinging it around, but I accidentally killed a minion. Anyways, then I was bored in line, so I screamed into it like a horn and I said, "Arby's, we have the meats." Anyways, I got home and I cut up the mango. I grabbed a random DVD case and I put all the mango slices in it. But my dad's cat tried eating it. Ugh. And then I wrapped the Lego Star Wars for Xbox 360 disc case and put it under the tree. And when I woke up this morning on Christmas, I gave it to him. What? Okay, so I found some weird Tic Tac looking things in the bathroom that weren't mine. And I was pretty bored, so I ate them all. And I felt like I was in the show Euphoria. Stranger. But I thought they would be tropical fruit flavored, but they were very much not. And I started wondering what they actually are, and I looked in the drawer where I found them, and they were growth capsules. I was confused, but I got super excited because I want to be 8 feet tall and stomp on all the people that walk slow and just tower over everyone stomping on it. Oh wait, they're actually foam animal pills that grow in water. I started freaking out because I can barely digest Taco Bell, so I don't think I can digest that. And I grabbed a bunch and put them in water to see what animal was growing inside me, and when I pulled the foam out and looked at the diagram, it was a horse! And you know what? I embraced it. I became my true calling of a horse boy, and I put on my 4 shoes on all 4 of my hoofs, and then I played every horse's favorite song right now. And I ran off into the world to start a new life. One day. So I was going through my local Taco Bell drive-thru when I saw some money had fallen out of a customer's car in front of me. So I pulled up to pick it up and it was $200. And at first I was like, whoa, Canadian money actually does smell like maple syrup. But secondly, they probably need it. I should really leave it behind for them. Psych, bitch! I went to Michael's to spend $200 on crabs! Because last time I went to Michael's, I was like a toddler with like 3 Robux in my bank account. So I walked in and I decided to buy whatever looked cool. I found one of those kits where you break open the geodes, so I grabbed one of those, and then there was a bunch of fake fruit. And I saw they had fake bananas, so I bought a fake banana. But when I went to pay, the cashier found a bite mark on my banana and asked me if I still wanted the bitten banana, but I bought the bitten banana anyways. And then when I got home, I broke the box open because I don't own scissors. And look, it came with these fun goggles. Anyways, next I went to my garage to find a hammer, and then I put the geode on the ground and smashed it! And that baby blew open! And it looks kind of like a fruit gusher, so please let me know in the comments if I can eat these or not. Thank you, bye. I haven't been posting on TikTok because I got a stalker that's been DMing me saying he's gonna come to my house and that he knows my address. And I didn't know what to do, so I packed my bags and I ran away to Florida to try and hide. When I finally got there, I went to the pool to relax when I saw someone staring at me from a distance covered in like smoke or something. I was kind of scared, but I followed them out of the pool and I barely got out because I have no upper body strength. Anyways, I followed his footsteps to the beach and they led me to this fenced off area, but I went in anyways and I followed the trail of smoke coming from him, which brought me to this weird abandoned building which had a really strong smell of like skunk or something coming from it. I was still curious, so I stuck inside and it was completely dark. So I turned on my flash and there was Jacob Sartorius! I screamed out, "What do you want from me?" And that's when he asked if I wanted to do some lettuce with him. And you know what I said? Yes! Yes! And we made a delicious salad together, just me and Jacob Sartorius, two dudes tossing salad in the kitchen. Today, I ate 23 gummy vitamins, and I got the brilliant idea to go buy an ostrich so I can recreate that scene from the movie Rango, where they ride the ostriches into the sunset. But then I was wondering to myself, are ostriches even legal? And I looked it up, and yeah, you can literally own an ostrich in California. So I started calling places, asking for ostriches.
How may I help you?
If I gave you a half-used Starbucks gift card, could I buy an emu with it?
No, you cannot.
Anyways, I finally found a place 3 hours away called Ostrich Land, and I went on a little road trip. Now, as I was traveling to Ostrich Land, I thought about all the pets I've had so far, such as my crusty-eyed white dog, the grocery store crab that I ended up releasing into the ocean, / accidentally sacrificing when the wave came and killed it, and my praying mantis that I fed cockroaches to every single night. Anyways, we finally arrived at Ostrich Land, and it turned out the ostriches are 7 feet tall! I thought ostriches were like chicken size! Crap, we're out of time on TikTok, but if you want to see me vlog my ostrich purchase, the link to the YouTube video is in my bio. Hey, guess what? Today is Miss Corona's first birthday. On November 17th, 2019, the very first dude went and now 55 million people have gone and everything sucks now. Anyways, I was throwing a little party for COVID because I feel like no one else appreciates her, so I invited her over by going to the local COVID testing location, sneaking into the employees only area, and licking all of the testing swabs. But when I left, an employee yelled at me. Anyways, when I got home, all of a sudden I felt a little ill, and boom, she was at the party. I had bought some Taco Bell for the party, ordered $1,000 worth of slime to play with, and just when Miss Corona thought she was about to open her birthday present, she realized the present was hand sanitizer, and I grabbed the virus in a chokehold and poured the sanitizer all over the coronavirus and beat it with a mask for canceling everything that I was looking forward to, and worse. Anyways, once again, please wear a mask, not just because of Corona, but also because some of y'all have musty, dusty breath. Thanks. Today, as I was driving, I saw the most precious old man dressed up as Santa, and he was standing on the street corner waving at cars as they went by. So I parked my car and I went up to him, and he was giving out free candy canes. I thought that was so nice, so I grabbed the whole basket because I was really hungry, and they were also free. And as I was running away from him, I heard him call me a ho-ho-ho or something. But anyways, I got into my car and I ate all the candy canes, and they were so delicious. But that's when I noticed that the basket said Salvation Army Donation Bin, and I was like, Army? I didn't know Sam String of BTS. But then I saw there was a bunch of money at the bottom, and I started to tear up because not only did Santa give me free candy canes, but he also gave me free money. So guys, from now on, if you ever see one of these in public, that is a bucket of free money just for you. So make sure you grab it and run.
Today I went to go get the Moderna vaccine, and it hurt a little bit when they gave it to me, but afterwards I went home and I took the band-aid off. But as I was peeling it off, I noticed something hard was underneath, and when I pulled it out and looked at it, I saw a microchip. I'd been microchipped. I thought that was fake, but I had to get to the bottom of this. So I grabbed a microchip adapter and put it in my phone, and a folder came up saying, "We see you." And in it was a picture that said, "Meet Candace at 42 Wallaby Way at 2 p.m. And I was really scared, but the next day I went to the address on my bike, and it ended up taking me to this huge building, and I found my way in. But as I was looking around, there was no one there, so I shouted, "Candace, who's Candace?" But all of a sudden the lights went out, and I felt something grab me. Next thing I knew, I woke up in a chair tied up. I was so confused, and I shouted, "Who is Candace? What is Candace?" Then out of the darkness, he appeared, and he said, "Candace D."
Okay, so I bought one of those things that lets you FaceTime your dog and shoot treats at them. But today I was looking at the camera and I noticed that she's been taking all her treats behind the couch for some reason. So I went to go see what she was doing with them, and she's been storing them so that she can pretend like I never gave her one in the first place, and then ask for more like the fat little bitch she is. And yes, I can call her that because bitch means female dog, and she is a female dog. Anyways, I had enough of her scamming me, so I decided to empty out the treat machine and fill it with her least favorite treat. Green beans, baby! I put a bean on the plate and cut it up into small little pieces, and then I loaded it into the machine, and I shot it out at her, and at first she didn't want to eat it, but then she got bored, and she ate them, and I was so happy because I thought I got her on a diet, until I heard a weird coughing noise come from downstairs. I ran downstairs to see what was happening, and that's when I saw her in my beanbag bed, next to the beans when she had thrown out. Oh, I got beans in my bed!
Today I pretended to be in the hospital to get my celebrity crush to notice me. And here's how I did it. First I was editing my name onto a hospital band, and one of the rows said sex. So I said yes, winky face. And then I walked over to my printer that I haven't used in years, and I thought it was gonna light on fire, and somehow that old mama worked and it printed out my band. So I cut it out and put it on my wrist.
Drip, my drip, yeah.
And then I tore my bed apart and I ripped the bed sheet off my bed to wear as a little hospital robe. Then once I had that, I pulled my bed off and dragged it over to a blank wall. Anyways, then I made my room look like a hospital by taping
hospital signage, and then I laid down in my hospital bed and I made the finishing touches with a phone charger, and then I put some headphones in my nose to really pull it all together. Then I finally took my Snapchat and I added a black and white filter to be all dramatic, and I made the caption, "Down bad, wish I had a big booty bee to give me CPR," and I sent it to her. Then I ripped all the cords out and the bracelet too, and I put my shirt back on, and I was waiting around when she finally replied, and when I opened it, she said, okay, I don't know if you've seen that trend where people are exploring their attics, but I've seen some spooky things, and I'm gonna try it, because I have this house that was built in the 1900s but got renovated. And also, I've noticed that my attic has a weird light coming from inside, but no switch to control it or anything. So, I grabbed a stool and I made it go as high as possible, because the attic was like 2 times my height. And then I climbed onto it, but it was really wobbly and I started getting scared. Anyways, when I finally managed to open up the attic door, I couldn't really see inside, so I felt around for a switch with my hand, and that's when I touched a book. I picked it up and then I jumped off the stool and ran downstairs to read it. And when I looked inside, it had a bunch of Chinese characters, I think, and maybe blood. I had to know what it meant, so I took it to Google Translate and I tried my best to transcribe the Chinese characters, and I couldn't believe it. But it said, "I ain't never seen 2 pretty best." Wait a minute!
Man, you thought I was gonna make a 2 pretty best friends joke? No! The joke is dead and you just got caught slipping.
Look in the mirror right now, clown. That's you, Pennywise. Anyways, this has been a Harvard University experiment. Thank you for your participation. Last night I went to Chuck E. Cheese to lie and say it's my birthday to get free pizza. And it worked, baby! But the place was terrifying and the food was even scarier. And after a few bites, I started feeling sick, like I had worms in my stomach. So I got up and I stumbled out of the restaurant and I went home. Then the next day I scheduled an emergency Zoom doctor's visit, and he told me that I'm lactose intolerant. And I was like, what the hell? I don't lactose, I got all 10, baby! But then he told me to put my feet away, and I was like, you're right, you should be paying me for this, not the other way around, buddy. And then he started telling me you can't eat pizza anymore. But his video started to cut out, but it's okay, because I know what lactose intolerance is. I can't have bread anymore! So I got rid of all my bread and dumped all of that fart food right in the trash. And then I grabbed some milk and chugged nothing but pure milk for a few days. And you know what? It was really good for a bit until I started feeling a storm brewing 10 times stronger than what Chuck E. Cheese did to me. So I immediately ran to the bathroom and... So apparently lactose intolerance is the milk one, but at least I don't lactose, baby! Today, I was in the drive-thru line at Starbucks trying to get the Donald Trump drink, which is just a cup that's full of sad old man tears. But as I pulled up, I was feeling generous, and I told the barista, can I pay for the order in front of me? And the Starbucks employee said,
That's so sweet. Let me bring that up for you. Would you like anything else?
So I said, can I get a cake pop and a white hot chocolate? But that's when the barista said,
That comes up to $94.24.
I stopped and said, what in the star did you say? And the barista told me they ordered 7 drinks, 4 pastries, and a travel mug. So I told the barista, hey, I'm actually just gonna get the cake pop. But the person ahead of me had already driven away, and they told me I had to pay or the cops would be called. So I pulled up and paid, but I wasn't gonna stop until I got my travel mug. I followed the car until it parked, and I approached the window, and I said, give me the mug! Anyways, look at my $94 Starbucks travel mug that I had to pry out of a soccer mom's hands. So TikTok sent me a skateboard, and I decided to ride it down my stairs so I could see a Juice WRLD concert. And you're probably wondering, how did I get one? And it's cause I used my Russian hacking skills to make me the most followed person by changing my follow count from 6.7 M to a B. M to the B, M to the B, M. Anyways, what the frick, it didn't come with wheels, and I was like, what the heck? I was supposed to hang it on my wall, but I have trauma from last week when my stop sign fell off my wall and almost chopped me up into cooked sashimi. So I decided maybe I can ride it down the stairs, but I don't want to meet Michael Jackson. Wait, never mind, Michael Jackson's in hell. So I put on my frog costume from Halloween, but not only is it a frog costume, it's an inflatable frog costume. So I started at the top of my stairs, and I slowly nudged myself forward until I wrote it down, and... So anyways, now the board is snapped in half, but I got this cool new bruise, so if anyone could give it a fun name, that would be greatly appreciated. This morning I woke up to see that the internet was trying to cancel the D'Amelios for not eating snails. Stop! Y'all are telling me you've never been overdramatic when your parents cooked food you didn't like? So you made a fuss about it? Yeah, I know you did. Snails are disgusting, just to be clear. I wouldn't care if Gordon Ramsay cooked me an entire dish with snails, because if I bit into a snail thinking it was a mushroom, I would spit it out too. Also, if you're a grown adult trying to cancel them, just pack it up and admit that you're jealous that 2 teenagers have accomplished more in a year than you have in your whole career. Anyways, after getting severe brain damage from seeing people reach so far they dislocated their arms, I went back to sleep. And in my dream, I was walking around an empty abandoned street in the dark when I saw a giant snail, and it started screaming, eat me, eat me. And I ran into the nearest house and closed the garage door, and just when I thought I was safe, I felt something slimy on my arm, and I heard a voice say, it's time for you to escort. Go. I was enjoying some olives and yogurt when a piece of paper slipped through my mail slot. And when I went to go check it, a huge box flew through the slot and hit me in the head. That's when I remembered I ordered this game called Incoherent from Amazon at like 2 a.m. But nevertheless, I was so excited to play it. But I realized I don't have any friends around me to play with. So I decided to call some of my besties instead. I dialed the number and I was like, hey bestie, and they said, this is
Taco Bell?
So I was like, okay, first round, Neck Key Minaj.
Please don't call this number again.
And I said, no silly, it's Nicki Minaj. What about Pressed Feet Tin?
Yeah, we're taking your phone number to the police.
And I was like, no, it's breastfeeding, duh. Oh, the police are really coming. I was eating some raw chicken sushi when out of the corner of my eye, I saw a furry and then another furry. So I got up to see what was going on and followed them, and then there was 10 furries and 20 furries and hundreds of furries, and I realized there was a whole furry convention at the mall I was at. But then I remembered I just didn't pay at the restaurant, and I heard them say on the intercom, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to get out of here. But these furries were everywhere, and I tried to sneak into this dark warehouse, but there was a rave going on inside, so I found a door to the outside, but it was raining and had no exit and no hope until I saw someone's left behind fursuit on the ground with some stains in it. But I had no other way to escape, so I put it on to try and blend in and re-enter the mall and saw so many horrifying things and still couldn't find the exit and was getting actual heat strokes, so I decided to just turn myself in. So I went up to a cop and said, I'd like to turn myself in, and it was a damn Zootopia cop! So I just bolted out of that lawless wasteland and jumped over furries to find a fire exit and made it out and stripped down and threw my suit in the river! I use my mom's Facebook Marketplace for buying clothes and organs sometimes, but today I saw that Taylor Swift's private jet was selling for $1,000 because she got in trouble for flying them every single day or something. But I thought, I'll take it, and I messaged them and hurried to the bank to take out $1,000 in cash. And I brought it to the address, which was her own airline hangar, and when I arrived, I saw the plane, and I took a bunch of pictures in front of it and then went through her makeshift security. But when I got there, there was a little party going on, and I was like, oh, fun, and I participated in the party, but then it got a little rowdy, and I asked, can I own this plane still? And it turns out some rappers bought it before I could and started filming a music video in it. But I was still bitter from being outbid, so I pulled the emergency latch and breached the airlock, and now I have the whole plane to myself.
Hey guys, just got first class, and they gave us free orange juice, free a little mask that come down and put you to sleep.